Okay, so we have had some big news in the last few days.
Yeah.
And we figured this needed its own episode to kind of break down and talk about everything that has happened with Lucasfilm.
Yeah. We've got some leadership changes. We've got updates on a lot of product status or project statuses. I think that's maybe even the more interesting part to me anyway. We've got some motorcycles just revving in the background, but they're Darth Revan out there. You'll just have to bear with us for some audio quality issues. It's not a big deal. But yeah, we wanted to get on mic. I think the plan at the moment is that the patrons are going to get access to this a little bit early, and then it'll hit the main feed. But nothing is set in stone until it happens with our show, so don't hold us to anything about that. But that's the plan. So
okay, so we got this news not yesterday. It's Saturday, January 27th or January 17th. We got this news Thursday night. And it there were some rumors that this was gonna happen. We didn't address the rumors because this is a rumor that continually happens, and it's been happening really for the last 10 years.
It's been crazy.
Why even address it until it actually happens? And now it's actually happened. And Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down from Lucasfilm, and Dave Filoni and Lenwyn Brennan are going to be co-presidents for Lucasfilm. Kind of a James Gunn, David Safran type model.
And I think
approaching leadership.
I think that's perfect for an entity like Lucasfilm, especially right now in the entertainment landscape we're in. And I'm glad that it seems like this is happening just because Kathleen felt that it was time. And I haven't gotten the sense that it's because of any internal or external pressures or anything like that. And I want to say kind of like off the top, I want to start out by thanking Kathleen Kennedy for everything that she's brought us over the last 13 years. She has, taken Star Wars into areas that I don't think we ever imagined it could go. And everything, all the amazing stuff we've gotten, Andor, the Mandalorian, like all of this is under Kathleen Kennedy, and bringing the sequel trilogy back, and I don't know. So I want to start out by thanking Kathleen Kennedy for everything she's done. I think she's been an amazing leader for Lucasfilm. Especially, I think she has dealt with so much in terms of like public outrage and stuff at her. I think she's kind of had an unfair run in that regard, and she's handled it with such grace and all that kind of stuff. So
and I've already started to see it happen now with Dave Filoni. Like the tide has already turned. The problem wasn't necessarily Kathleen Kennedy. It's there's always going to be a portion of any fandom, and it's not just Star Wars fandom. Okay, I think Star Wars is sometimes unfairly targeted in terms of like how bad the fandom is. That's not my experience at all. My experience with the fandom is great, and the people who listen to this podcast are great. And I think what went wrong with all of that is YouTube monetization and YouTube pushing rage. Instead of celebration, and
outrage becoming a currency.
You see that
economy.
You see that with any fandom. I see that with DC, Marvel. I see that with wrestling. I see that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just kind of a widespread problem. I think Star Wars is just such a huge IP. A lot of times, like a lot of people like to focus on that as an example. It's also one of the oldest ones too. So. I think it's gone back for a long, long time. And so like I've already started to see kind of the targeting of Dave Filoni now at this point of like, oh, well, he hated Andor. It's like, where is this coming from?
Where is that?
This is not true. Like none of this is true. I also heard that he hates Knights of the Old Republic. Have you talked to him?
Right. Like we have gotten so many Knights of the Old Republic like lore drops and references through
in the Clone
projects.
Wars, and
through
Rebels,
things he's been in charge of. So
So all that to say, it's like I think as fans, and I'm just kind of addressing the fandom now, is like at a certain point you have to like stop giving those people attention.
Yeah.
Of like, because what they're trying to do is get your attention and then get paid for that.
Right.
And so like if you stop giving them attention and in some ways ignore them, sometimes you do have to like fight it head on.
Right.
Depending on what it is. But for the most part, ignore those people because that's always going to be a factor. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see this new direction, and it's kind of like I heard someone compare it to kind of like a sports analogy in terms of like a coach who was super successful, had some ups and downs. It would be disingenuous to say that everything was firing 100%.
Right.
But there is no scenario where anybody in leadership at Lucasfilm is going to get 100% everything right, especially in an era where you're trying new things and different things. And
exactly.
In an era where COVID happened and the writer strike happened, you're just not going to score 100%, especially in the back half of Kathleen Kennedy's career as Lucasfilm president. Some things out of her control that just made it almost impossible to win everything.
Right.
And so I think it'd just be disingenuous to say everything was horrible and everything was 100% amazing. I think it was more on the amazing side than not.
For sure.
She had way more wins than losses. And so like all that back to the analogy of a coach who won the big championship, and maybe it's time for now someone fresh to bring a fresh vision to the team of like, okay, thank you for the time. I think now it's time for someone to bring a fresh new vision. I think a lot of people are questioning like, is it going to actually be a fresh new vision? I personally do think that it will be. I don't see how it couldn't be with two new people in charge. Yes, they were part of the old regime, but I think there's also, I mean, you're going to want to try to do some of the ideas that you have and see, what you can do with the franchise. And I'm excited to see the direction that Lucasfilm takes from here on out. I've loved where we've been, and I'm excited to see where we go with this.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Dave Filoni is a voice and a vision that we've put a lot of trust in for a while now and have really enjoyed, his output. So I can't wait to see, where we go with him at the creative helm. And I like that this is split because it also like, I think any studio environment is usually at its best when the artistic side of things and the business side of things have some tension against each other. I think
I agree.
Both of them being in dialogue about where the balance should fall is what you want. And I think having two people, over those separate entities, I think that makes it more conversational.
Yep.
Between the creative side of things and the numbers and the bottom line,
Well, I mean, I look at the original Star Wars movie, A New Hope. I think that was born out of the tension that you're talking about of like, what can we do? What can we not do? Let's find some innovative ways to make this happen. And like, boom, you get Star Wars.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a good way for it to be set up. And I can't wait to see what happens. Kathleen Kennedy.
Also want to give like Lenwyn Brennan her flowers here, but because she's been with the company for a very, very long time. Yeah. And like, how cool is it that she has now been promoted to co-president alongside Dave Filoni? Yeah. I think, man, I'm excited for both of them. Like, what a dream that would be of that. And like, just to think too of where Dave Filoni came from, like all the way from, Avatar: The Last Airbender, getting a call from George Lucas, kind of being his Padawan, and now here he is. Yeah.
Now he's the Grand Master of the Order. So yeah, that's awesome. Kathy is still going to be around producing, which is great. You don't want to lose that skill set and everything that she brings to the table completely, so it's great that she'll still be a resource for the company in that regard. But we're talking about we're excited to see what happens going forward. We have some updates on some things on projects that before we have kind of had big question marks about of are they still happening? Are they not? Let's get into some of that information.
Yeah, so a lot of this is coming from her exit interview with Deadline, and we'll start at the top. The planned Star Wars movie by James Mangold and Beau Willimon, who is one of the writers for Andor, has an incredible script, but is on hold. And here's kind of the key that Kathleen Kennedy dropped in that news. It's on hold because it breaks the mold.
Yeah.
And that's a theme you're going to see with a lot of these projects of like, okay, think back to The Hunt for Ben Solo. Everyone was on board for that, but it got stopped, not at the Lucasfilm level. So just keep that in mind. Scripts by Taika Waititi and Donald Glover have been turned in and are still alive, though final decisions rest kind of with that new leadership. She said that the Taika Waititi script was really funny, which of course I kind of would expect that. And then Donald Glover, of course, was making a Lando film.
Yes.
I could see that more transition to me, and originally it was going to be a TV show. To me, it still makes more sense as a TV show than a film.
Yeah, I mean, it's a script. We don't know what kind of script it
Right.
is. We don't know if it's like a teleplay or a screenplay or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that one probably has more likelihood of actually reaching our screens if I'm just putting money down on things now. I think, Donald Glover is a huge creative force. I know Taika Waititi is as well. But I think I can just see a lot more positive energy behind Donald Glover's efforts than Taika Waititi's, just based on
I don't want to be a downer. I don't think either of these are coming.
I think there's some hope for the Lando script, or that we could at least, that project could transition into us.
That would be a
least
fun animated
getting
show.
Donald Glover's Lando again.
Yeah, I don't see it happening, to be honest with you. Especially, okay, so like in the exit interview, she said one of her biggest mistakes was Solo. She just straight up like admitted that they put Alden Ehrenreich in an impossible position. He did a great job. He did everything that they wanted him to do, but how do you replace Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
So I think with that in mind, with that kind of looming, that's like, I don't see how you disconnect Lando from Solo in the sense of like that it's a spiritual sequel in a very, like in a sense to me. Yeah. So I don't see either of these things actually happening. Okay, so let's go back to the Dawn of the Jedi one real quick.
That's Taika's script, right?
No,
okay.
That's different. So the James Mangold Beau Willimon one is Dawn of the Jedi.
Gotcha.
We don't know what the Taika Waititi thing is. We thought it was going to be ancient looking based on the just like the Star Wars logo that was attached to it with him. And I still do think that it would be. But I think those are two separate projects. So let's go back to the Dawn of the Jedi one real quick, with the James Mangold film, which was described as a biblical epic back in 2023 when they announced this in Star Wars Celebration. We got incredibly excited about that. But if it's breaking the mold, like I would imagine that means it's radically different than anything Star Wars has ever done before. And, with it being 25,000 years before anything Star Wars, it would have to be.
Right. If there's not a project to break the mold with, what is, you have so much removal from any of the stories that we've already had on screen. You're not bringing any of those characters, concepts, times, places, into this story. I think that would be the perfect place to make a really, really different Star Wars film. As long as you're still continuing the spiritual core of the franchise, like
right.
you don't have any of the other baggage,
Yeah.
But I think that we'll get something out of that. We've had a lot of momentum and news and buzz surrounding that project for a while. I think think we'll get something, even if that ends up just becoming a book or something.
Or like an animated movie or something.
Yeah.
Because this is just what I've heard that Lucasfilm is working on animated movies. for the big screen.
Kind of on the, Sony, their animation department has really been killing it in that regard with like the Spider-Verse stuff. And I know it's not a movie. Well, is K-pop Demon Hunters is a series, right?
No, it's a movie. It came out on Netflix though. It didn't come out in theaters. I would imagine a second one would probably come out in theaters just based on the popularity of it.
Yeah, that has just completely missed me in the pop culture zeitgeist for some reason. It has nothing
to
do
with Frozen.
Any of that. Yeah.
So it's not really your age demographic.
Yeah, but like I've been hearing tons about it.
So I know it's super popular.
Yeah, so I guess that makes sense from that forecasting model. Like it's really working out for some of those projects. And if a franchise can make a jump from live action to animation, if there's one that can do it, it's Star Wars.
Especially under Dave Filoni.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's his bread and butter.
Exactly. So like I almost would. There's part of me that would rather see something like Dawn of the Jedi as an animated like movie in a very cool type of like an arcane type animation or something like that of like because I think there's something in your mind that accepts it a little bit more if it is breaking the mold because it is animation,
right?
If that makes sense.
Yeah, your suspension of disbelief is starting out in a different place if something's animated, I think, because you're accepting already that the images are not happened, like they've never happened in physical space,
right?
Unlike live action where you're still kind of led on by that.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a lot that you get rid of a lot of the barriers too for budget and scale and stuff, and you can do some really mythical feeling
that's the thing is it could feel like a myth that you're watching.
Like going back to the biblical epic description, that works better in animation because you can put whatever you want visually in front of the screen, or in front of the audience.
Yeah, I think that would be super cool. Number one, maybe anybody listening at Lucasfilm, take that to Dave. So I don't know what will happen with that. So what I've heard as well with James Mangold, he's a little more right now excited about making Swamp Thing for DC. And so that's like, I think that's what he wants to do next.
I mean, I think that's kind of more in his like wheelhouse creatively.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. So I think that's what's up for him next. And then, and again, I could be totally wrong about the Taika Waititi, Donald Glover thing, but we've been hearing about those projects for so long. They're kind of in the Rian Johnson trilogy place for me of like, yeah, sure. I'm sure it will happen one day. And it never actually does. The next one was she brought up on her own The Hunt for Ben Solo, and she had a very interesting kind of quote attached to that. She said, if anyone's brave enough to make it, I say go for it. Yeah. Of like, so basically, I think again, she was kind of like firing a shot of like, we were ready to make it. It was shot down above us.
Right.
So I think that brings new life and hope to that specific project, especially with the fan momentum behind it. Yeah. I think we're going to see something, whether it's a movie or the ideas presented from that script. I think that's happening.
Yeah. I mean, we're in an era where the public opinion matters more than ever, for better or for worse, in creative decision making. Like, as wrestling fans, we see that in a huge, direct, rapid way. But I even think about things like the Sonic the Hedgehog CGI redesign and stuff. Like people, I think studios are listening to audiences more than they ever have.
And that was a good decision that they listen. You know what I mean? Like
it works out sometimes. And like,
sometimes
I don't think it's always the right call. I think sometimes you need to have faith in your project and your creatives. But for better or for worse, they're listening more than ever. So I think, to your point, that's credit for that maybe happening. I
feel like there's some momentum behind that project right now, and I just think we're going to get something with Ben Solo, and Ben Solo is going to come back. That's happening.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about this next part. Simon Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy work is ongoing. That's the thing that I think has the most momentum out of anything. Dave Filoni's behind that. Simon Kinberg was one of the co-creators of Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
So like, this is happening. So there's been some early drafts, but not complete. And Kathleen Kennedy said that they had to overhaul it about 4 weeks ago. Well, what happened about 4 weeks ago? The Ben Solo news. So I think
I was like, so much has been happening in the news.
Well, in the world,
what specifically happening 4 weeks ago are you referring to? Because that's like 9 different things.
Yeah, I think that kind of confirms this is an episode 10, 11, 12 situation that we're walking into. I don't think that this is... Now, I think it would be super exciting if this wasn't episode 10, 11, 12, and this is just like a brand new Star Wars trilogy. This is Star Wars volume 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? Like, this is a new thing. I'm totally down for that. But I suspect that this is episode 10 through 12.
I think it's going to be the continuation of the saga, probably. But I do think it's it seems like they're really trying to figure out what that's going to be exactly. And they're writing it as a trilogy instead of one-off scripts that build on each other. It seems like they're
the sequel trilogy.
Exactly. So it seems like they're really kind of trying to have a different approach. They're setting the goalpost really early, and they're going to make sure that is all in place before giving us. I think where that ends up is going to determine what of these projects actually make it into production and that kind of thing too.
Which I think is a lesson learned, right?
Yes.
Like obviously that was a misstep with the sequel trilogy, is not knowing where the story was going.
Right.
Now George Lucas never knew where the story was going for either the classic trilogy or the prequel trilogy. But the difference is it was one man's vision. Like regardless if he didn't know where it was going, it's still consistent because one guy is creating it.
Yeah.
Whereas with this is more everyone's got their hands in it.
Much more, done by committee.
Exactly.
So yeah, but I like the outlook of all that. I think it's even though it doesn't give us much concrete stuff to go on speculation wise for a while, I think it's good that they're seemingly trying to get that all solidified before even announcing the one-off projects that are going to lead up to it, And
so noticeably absent from this exit interview, she did not even bring up the Rey movie, and they didn't ask, meaning she told them not to ask that question.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means we're about to get a big announcement about that and they want to kind of wait for that big announcement, or it's also been absorbed into the Simon Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy and they've reworked it into that.
I almost think that's more likely, because Rey has to be in this trilogy for it to be the continuation of the Skywalker saga.
Right.
Because she's her and Ben are it.
Right.
And for Rey, it's even she's only part of the lineage like spiritually. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it's pretty likely that's the case. Like that, the new Jedi Order movie situation is gonna be part of this new trilogy. And I think it'd be crazy if Starfighter wasn't, especially because we're talking about potential Starfighter sequels already.
Yes.
I think it'd be crazy if it wasn't trying to do some groundwork to, especially in establishing whoever the antagonist is going to be for the next saga trilogy. I think, Starfighter will be doing a lot of that groundwork.
You would imagine so. And yeah, that is one thing that she said is like Starfighter could get a sequel depending on how well it does.
Yeah.
So let's shift to the Mando-verse real quick, because there was some news regarding the Mando-verse, and that's, especially important to us and, how we started and what we do.
Yeah.
I don't know how to take the news, because I've thought about it two different ways
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting The Mandalorian and Grogu, and we're getting Ahsoka season 2. They said, as all this news was coming out, that the big epic Mando-verse crossover where everyone is involved from all the Mando-verse is now on the back burner. Now, the way that it was worded was it was on the back burner so that the Mandalorian, Grogu, and Starfighter could come out.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone has took it as it's on the back burner, meaning it's on the back burner permanently, as if the same thing as Dawn of the Jedi.
Right.
So I don't know how to take that if that's the truth. Now, here's another thing that I have heard regarding the Mando-verse, that depending on how Ahsoka Season 2 does, Ahsoka Season 2 might wrap up the Mando-verse.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you think about the news coming out about Ahsoka Season 2, where we're getting Admiral Akbar versus Thrawn in Season 2, that to me like seems like it would have been saved for something like the movie crossover. I think there's a real possibility the Mando-verse ends with Season 2 of Ahsoka, and that this Mandalorian and Grogu movie is kind of a send-off to the Mandalorian.
I mean, because we haven't had a Mandalorian Season 4 announcement or anybody discussing any plans for Mandalorian Season 4, I hope that the movie is a nice wrap-up and send-off for everything Din and Grogu specific. I think we have always anticipated that they'd be part of the huge crossover event and all of that, but it may not shake out that way.
But the thing is, like, what if there's not a huge crossover event? I mean, I hate to speculate on this because, like, I don't want to get people thinking like this is going to happen. But what if the Mandalorian and Grogu show up in Ahsoka Season 2 and we get that crossover thing in Season 2 and then it just wraps it up? We're done.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's what I'm. Yeah, I think that's what I also am kind of getting from that.
But like, okay, so what if the Mandalorian and Grogu is like a huge, massive hit that they did not expect? If like it makes well over $1 billion, which it won't. But let's say that it does. Well, then what do you do? You don't need to say
right. Well, and it's also like they've made the Mandalorian and Grogu a feature film that. Right. Necessitates, like, they're putting a big investment. They're really putting a lot of chips behind it. And it's weird that they don't have, like, direct follow-up plans, I guess.
I don't... It's just a strange time with the Mando-verse, because I truly don't know, because I could totally see with, like, Dave knew this was coming, where he was going to be elevated to president of Lucasfilm, and he did a lot of the episodes specifically for, like, he was filming just a few months ago for Season 2 of Ahsoka. Right. With that knowledge of, like, okay, then let's end it here and now.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I hope that Mandalorian and Grogu is somehow involved in Ahsoka Season 2, Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, all of it. I hope that they just do it in that. And I'm fine with that. That's okay. Like,
I just don't know how you can get the rest of the Ahsoka story out.
Me neither.
I don't. All of that, though, is the thing that worries me. Because we're doing such huge things in Ahsoka with a brand new galaxy and stuff.
Well, but then, like, when you think about it, too, with Ahsoka and, like, where our speculation took us with the Mother and Abeloth potentially being a thing, or, like, a version of that and the Mortis gods, how do you, like, come down from that?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that is like an end level event that would, like, end everything for this era of, that's like, true. Okay, let's cap it off and end it. It's just like, I kind of expected if that is happening for it to be like in the movie. But also I feel like it is more appropriate if it started in TV, ended in TV.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's happening. I don't know but like, I think we need to be prepared, is all I'm saying, for it to end in Season 2 of Ahsoka and with a big bang, which is exciting. It makes Ahsoka Season 2 like, oh, whoa. Like, yeah. But I think there's potential, like, that is the end.
Yeah. That's wild. Yeah.
And that would make sense too, of like, okay, now he's in charge. Fresh, everything coming out from here on out is fresh.
Right, we get to
start
a new vision. Yeah, I don't know. Like I get that. It just makes me worried for these stories that we've already invested so much time and are, so have fallen in love with the characters and all of that.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Here's the thing though. There's part of me that craves an ending for the Mando-verse because like you can't keep it. We can't Walking Dead this thing.
Right.
Where it's like, oh my God, just end it, please. God. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like there needs to be a fixed endpoint. And that has been my worry with The Mandalorian when they announced it as a movie. I'm like, we were heading towards an end game here.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so like there's part of me that craves that ending. Yeah. I just want them to do it the right way.
Right. I mean, we've always had a definite ending in mind for all of these stories just because of how they're being told, I think. But I just want it to be the intentional ending they always wanted and were building towards and stuff. I don't want it to just be a all right, let's wrap it up because we're moving on kind of situation. But
I just don't know what to think about it.
Yeah.
So before we move on from kind of where we're at right now, we're kind of talking about TV a little bit. There was some news as well. I'm trying to find what it said exactly because I thought this was super interesting. I thought I said it to you last night, but I did not. Rick Famuyiwa was developing his own show, but it's in limbo right now.
Okay.
So again, like I don't know if that means like it's because it's the Mando-verse.
I think that's what I take from it because he's such a central figure in everything The Mandalorian, and the rest of the shows, and I would imagine he wasn't just developing a brand new Star Wars thing. I think it was probably tied into something going on with the characters he's already been working with, all of that. So
probably a version of Rangers of the New Republic, if I had to guess.
Just that's the biggest gap in They were doing The Mandalorian for this kind of like, the bounty hunting underworld side of things. They've got Ahsoka for the 4C Jedi type stuff. They needed something to cover, just the
Migs
Republic
Mayfield of the world.
Exactly. So I think that is a gap that I feel has still yet to be filled.
And I guess it won't be like the way that if it's in limbo. Even if they started production right now, we're not getting that until 2 years from now.
Yeah, and I mean, even though it's not part of the Mando-verse too, Andor did focus on that aspect of things, the political, the military, the all of that. It's not the right time period or anything like that for the Mando-verse, but I wonder if they just feel like they've already focused on that aspect in Star Wars TV enough.
The more we talk about it, the more I feel like what we were just talking about with it potentially ending with Ahsoka season 2, I feel like it's more in line with that because like how do you maintain any sort of momentum?
Yeah.
Like if you were going to do like a big crossover event, that's 2 more years.
Yeah.
Like I always thought like I said this on the podcast last time. I think the project I'm most excited about right now is Starfighter.
Me too.
But I always thought before Starfighter was announced back in 2023 when they decided, okay, we're going to do 3 different era movies. We're going to do the new Jedi Order movie. We're going to do Dawn of the Jedi. We're going to do the New Republic big crossover movie. I always thought like the big crossover movie would be the perfect movie for the 50th anniversary because it's like, Han, Luke, and Leia would be in that one.
Yeah.
Like, it's a celebration of everything Star Wars. Dave Filoni doing his thing where everybody's in it. You know what I mean? Like that seemed like the perfect layup for a 50th anniversary. Kind of missed the window a little bit. You know what I mean? Like the more we talk about it, I do feel like maybe Ahsoka season 2 is it. Like I think that might be the end.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like it could. Okay. So I'm sorry. The ending happens in Mandalorian and Grogu. And then you get an epilogue in Ahsoka season 2 to wrap up like the big Force questions and stuff that they were presenting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're just gonna have to see when we see the Mandalorian and Grogu. I think a lot will be clearer.
Yeah.
In terms of what to expect from the Mando-verse moving forward. So
yeah, when we get that trailer, hopefully we're gonna be getting that trailer Super Bowl. But we want to go ahead and say, call in right now with your before the trailer predictions.
Yeah,
we're gonna do a before the trailer show before the it comes out when we finish the Book of Boba Fett. So go ahead and call in with your predictions and theories on The Mandalorian and Grogu and what that movie could be. 205-259-6675. 205-259-6675. Keep it under 3 minutes. If you mess up, hang up, try again. We'll use your best one. Did that one from memory, my man. Okay, good. So let's wrap up that Mando-verse talk and let's think about... let's transition to... I don't want to spend a ton of time with this, but she did acknowledge in the exit interview like how you can't please everyone.
Yeah.
And this made me, and this is kind of making me feel like mom and dad are fighting. She mentioned how Rian Johnson was spooked to come back and do the trilogy, and he just tweeted like a few hours ago, he's like, not spooked. Don't like that.
Yeah. I don't even know what to make of that.
Yeah.
Like,
I think again, it's a higher up thing.
Yeah.
I think of like, but also I don't know. I just didn't love that section of the interview where it's like she was saying big name directors are afraid to do Star Wars and big name actors are afraid to do Star Wars because of the fan base.
Yeah.
And I think there's an element of truth to that.
Yeah.
I just don't, and maybe that it's just an uncomfortable truth I have to sit in. But I do think that there's someone, a big name director that's bold enough to do something really exciting with Star Wars. I just don't think the mouse is letting them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's actually the problem.
For sure. There's just so much that goes on in a corporation as large as Disney and all of its subsidiaries and everything like that we'll just never have any visibility into. So, you know, I don't want to speculate tons on that stuff, but yeah, I agree. It's just like a little bit,
don't love that.
I think the fans, like, there's certainly an element that can't, but for the most part, I think everybody is really ready for some new stuff, for some, some bold ideas and stuff like that. I think a lot of the criticisms of Star Wars from the fans, in this era have been that everything's too safe, everything's too familiar, that kind of stuff. So, I want to say that I want big, bold ideas, and I'm really ready for people to come in and take big swings.
Yeah,
because even
most
stuff
people
like
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right. So let's go to. I did want to bring up Indiana Jones because that's of course a big part of Lucasfilm that is slept on a lot. And let's talk about, because there was an article talking about like, oh, there's a lot of actually Indiana Jones things that were in the works, but then also got canceled. So Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny grossed about $383 million worldwide. I did not realize it was that low.
Yeah.
That's lower than Solo.
Yeah. Doesn't feel great.
And again, it's a great movie.
I'm a Lucasfilm guy. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen Dial of Destiny.
So they didn't market it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's been a consistent thing of like the marketing has been off, or I think a lot of times they think like you can just rest on the name brand, but like Indiana Jones, there hadn't been a movie since 2008.
And that one was
not a great one.
Great.
I like it, but of course I do. But like you almost have to like reinvent it and like get people excited, but then also like I think there's an element too if people didn't want to go see an 80-year-old man running.
Yeah. And
it's hard to watch.
Right. And Indiana Jones has such a different problem than Star Wars does in any kind of way, is that the man's name, like the character's name, is the title of the franchise. it is completely centered around the character of Indiana Jones. It's so much harder to, like, I think to separate any kind of, even in Star Wars, I think it's easier to separate Han Solo from Harrison Ford, because the world is so vast. There's so much, he's only one small part of this. For the Indiana Jones franchise,
he is
he's it. And so I think it's really hard to separate that from Harrison Ford, because he is the cornerstone of the entire thing. Again, we don't want to see just, an old man kind of keep hanging
beat
on,
up.
That's not what we want to see. We want to see Indiana Jones
in his prime.
Exactly.
Yeah. I will say though, Dial of Destiny is the third best Indiana Jones film there is.
Interesting.
It's Last Crusade for me, Raiders, and then Dial of Destiny. Dial of Destiny is an incredible film. James Mangold did an incredible job with it. It's just, I think, unfortunately, a lot of people did not see it. There's a whole sequence where he's young Indiana Jones again at the beginning. It's like, that whole beginning part of an Indiana Jones movie. And it's just like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. But I think, there was a report a few months ago that Lucasfilm was looking at, like, okay, we got to recast Indiana Jones if we want to do anything with it. You have to do that. Like, if you want to do an Indiana Jones film again, it's got to be set in the 40s or late 30s or whatever, that time period.
James Bond it. I don't care.
But Indiana Jones is based on James Bond. Like, the model is James Bond.
Right. Like the serial nature of it, like all of that kind of stuff. Like, give me a different actor and a slightly different interpretation of it every time.
Yes.
I think that actually makes it easier to separate the character from any of the performers. If it's, and the first couple times, there's going to be some growing pains. Like, there's going to be some people that it's going to take a long time to take that ride. But once you get there, you've got unlimited time and performers to
we would do an Indiana Jones podcast. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. Doctor Who it, James Bond it. Like, I don't care. I think that would honestly be a easier to digest approach than having just 100%. The new guy.
100%. Yeah, and it's not like a passing of the mantle, which I think they were trying to set up in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull with Mutt Williams and stuff. And like,
you got to have the guy. It's
got to be an Indiana Jones.
It's the name of the franchise. Exactly. It's the guy.
Exactly. So like, I, for one, would love a recast of Indiana Jones. And, it'd be funny if they did Alden Ehrenreich.
I think that'd be amazing.
That would be really cool. But we did learn that there was some things besides Dial of Destiny in development, and my heart broke.
Yeah.
It still breaks just reading this. There's one of them I knew about. The other one I did not know about, and I've been craving. I've even texted Mac, like, this needs to happen one day. This would be perfect. But there's two proposed Indiana Jones TV shows. This is the one I did not know about. An animated series set between the main movies exploring Indy's adventures. Oh my, that is a layup. I don't know how that's not made.
It's almost like a Saturday morning cartoon situation.
Yes.
It becomes like Tailspin, something like that, where
Johnny
it's like
Quest, whatever.
Yeah, it's a different adventure every week. It's, I love that. I'm actually, so the next project, like that, I would have loved the animated series, and I think that's a great way to still have the character, separate from Harrison Ford. But the next project, which is
the one I knew about,
the live action spinoff focusing on Abner Ravenwood, who's Marion's father, and like Indy's mentor and stuff. To me, that is more intriguing than anything, because it takes the franchise out of the territory I was talking about earlier and makes it a world with a lineage.
Your world building at that point.
Yeah. So I think that would have been great. I would love to meet all of the rest of like Indy's rivals that he's always vying against for all of these artifacts and stuff like that.
So like I think this had leaked or something. I don't know how I knew about this, but it was like called the Ravenwood Academy.
Yeah.
Or No. It's Ravenwood Institute. And I saw the logo a few years ago and stuff. This was being developed, and Of course, it would have taken place around like World War I, which is a great era for this kind of stuff too. Like, you know what I mean? Just anything pre-World War II or anything after World War II, not as interesting to me. World War II and below, that's the time period for adventures like this in my mind, and that would have been really, really fun. It almost would become like a new version of young Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Much. Yeah.
But yeah, man, that would have been awesome.
Yeah. But I think from everything we're hearing, pretty much Indiana Jones is being
it's on ice.
It's on ice for the moment. There's no way we won't get something else for Indiana Jones in the future. There's no way that's it.
They'll recast and Pedro Pascal will be Indiana Jones. We'll do
perfect,
it.
Perfect. But I think until basically all of this is just saying we're starting with a clean slate. There is nothing at this moment that's going to be developing for Indiana Jones, but that could change.
I hope it does
at any time. Yeah,
I hope it does, man. I love Indiana Jones, and I think there's positive momentum with Indiana Jones because of the recent game.
Yeah.
If you haven't played Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, it is one of the best video games I've ever played, and it brought me out of my video game hiatus to play it, and it is truly an immersive experience. I can't wait until they do another one. It's incredible. So definitely everyone go buy that game and play it. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
So here's kind of my expectations in the next few weeks. I think we're actually going to get some big announcements before January's over.
Yeah. As the dust settles and the actual plan forward is solidified, I agree with you. I think they're going to want to capitalize on this momentum and everything. Or I mean, not momentum. I guess they're. But the clean start.
Yeah.
I think they'll want to get everyone excited about that, and probably just talking about other stuff than Lucasfilm leadership succession and stuff. Well,
yeah, I think it will signal also. I mean, if you think about it from the business standpoint, signal to stakeholders of like, we are new. We're going in a new direction, because there's no Star Wars Celebration this year. There's nothing that, like they're not waiting till 2027. There'll be some big announcements, huge announcements that they will make there, but we're going to get some announcements about something.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in, obviously, for the survival of our podcast, of like, is any TV shows. I know that they're developing different kinds of ideas. We've heard of a horror one potentially. I've heard of one with Carlton Cuse, is one of the showrunners of Lost, is developing a Star Wars TV show. I don't think Star Wars live action television is done. I just think the era of 2022 Star Wars live action television is done, where we get 3 a year. That's not happening.
It's never happening again, I don't think.
Yeah, maybe 1 a year at most, 1 every 2 years.
Yeah. And with additional films coming out from what we're expecting now.
And an animated series probably every year is what I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, well, I'm glad we took a minute to just talk about all this news. It's just it seems like enough of a shakeup and everything that we needed to hop on mic.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else you wanna add? I'm excited. For one, am excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff that I'm unsure about. Like again, the fate of the Mando-verse and those stories we're invested in. I've got some questions and concerns, of course, but ultimately, I think this is going to be nothing but good for Star Wars fans, just in terms of a renewed energy, a renewed momentum, new voices, new ideas. That kind of stuff is always good. So
yeah, I can't wait. I think, and again, I know that there's like, anytime a big announcement like this, there's like a lot of fallout of like trying to figure out everything, all the information that's coming out and stuff. I'm telling you, I think there's going to be a lot of fun announcements coming really, really soon, and it's going to signal the beginning of a new era. It's the perfect time to do it. I for one am super excited about where we're going. I'm so thankful again for Kathleen Kennedy and everything that she has done for Star Wars. Remember, she was handpicked by George Lucas to run Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
I mean, she got so much grief that was so undeserved.
Yeah.
And I for one just want to say thank you to her. And she'll never hear this, but thank you to her and everything that she's done for Star Wars and all the wins that came along with that. And I cannot wait to see what this new leadership does with Star Wars, because I think it's going to be even better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, I don't have anything to add to that. I think that sums it up pretty well. Thank you for tuning into this this kind of special broadcast for Children of the Watch. We'll be back, on our normal. You can expect the Mandalorian rewatch as we continue Boba Fett. Well, it actually kind of is the Mandalorian rewatch.
Yeah,
coming
we're back,
this
baby.
Because it's chapter 5 of the Book of Boba Fett. So you can expect that at the normal time and all that. But we just wanted to hop on and talk about some special stuff. But until next time, keep the watch.